All right. Let's read a little bit of Aristotle's take on the nature of virtue from On Man and the Universe, a collection of his various treatises from the lessons that he would once give. Here comes Ollie, he wants to play. So we'll have to read and squeak at the same time. I'll play with you as soon as we're done with this. You too. Chapter 4. We have next to consider the nature of virtue. Now, as the properties of the soul are three, namely emotions, faculties, and moral states. So remember those three: emotions, faculties, and moral states. Those are the properties of the soul, as he calls it, which I'll substitute soul for our character, maybe. By emotions, I mean desire, anger, fear, pride, envy, joy, love, hatred, regret, ambition, pity. In a word, whatever feeling is attended by pleasure or pain. I call those faculties through which we are said to be capable of experiencing these emotions, for instance, capable of getting angry or being pained or feeling pity. So he's referring to those as the faculties. Remember, he started off with three, that the properties of the soul were three things: emotions, faculties, and the moral state. So the emotions are what we would normally consider the emotions, as he mentioned here. And then the faculties are the ability to experience, which we are capable of feeling those emotions. For instance, he says, capable of getting angry or being pained or feeling pity. So we've laid down the three and we've defined them, two of them so far. And I call those moral states through which we are well or ill-disposed in our emotions. Ill-disposed, for instance, in anger, if our anger be too violent or too feeble, and well-disposed if it be rightly moderate, and similarly in our other emotions. How interesting. Wow, I think that illustrates Aristotle's genius, coming up with that third idea, as he called it, the moral state. So the one would be the emotions, another would be the faculty of the emotions through which we can experience things, and then the moral state being, or is that what you call it? Yeah, the moral state being well or ill-disposed in our emotions, So, this is before the Stoics. So this would be, a Stoic would call that how we respond. Goodness. The Stoics would call that the moral sense, how we would respond to our emotions, whether we let our emotions carry us away or whether we remain in control of them. Next paragraph. Now, neither the virtues nor the vices are emotions. The virtues nor the vices are emotions. Okay. For we are not called good or bad for our emotions, but for our virtues and vices. Okay, that's a tricky one. Neither the virtues nor the vices are emotions. Come on. I picked a bad time to start this because the dogs always want to play after their evening meal. And that's what they want to do. Let me finish this one short chapter and then we'll play. I promise you. See, I've been working all day over there on my desk. And the dogs have been very good throughout the day, waiting for me to, but I just took them back from an hour-long walk. We walked about 4 miles. But I know it's always the case every night. And then I feed them and then they want to play for 15 minutes. And I should have waited to start this until after that. But they were downstairs eating. Okay, back again. Excuse me. Pardon me. Now, neither the virtues nor the vices are emotions. That makes sense. For we are not called good or bad for our emotions, but for our virtues and vices. That's true. So yeah, right. So we could have, we can get upset. People don't get upset. We aren't called bad for getting upset. We're called bad by the natures of our vices. And he goes on to say exactly that. We are not praised or blamed simply for being angry, but only for being angry in a certain way. We are not praised or blamed simply for being angry, but only for being angry in a certain way, or for being angry in a certain way. So we're not blamed in either of those cases. But we are praised or blamed for our virtues and vices. Again, whereas we are angry or afraid without deliberate purpose, the virtues are matters of deliberate purpose or require deliberate purpose. Moreover, we are said to be moved by our emotions, but we are said to be moved by our emotions, but by our virtues or vices, we are not said to be moved, but to have a certain disposition. Interesting. So the emotions move us, but our virtues and vices are something deeper, are more of our disposition, our nature. For these reasons, the virtues are not faculties, but we are not called either good or bad, nor are we praised or blamed for having. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. Pardon me. For these reasons, the virtues are not faculties, which comes back up to those three, right? But for we are not called either good or bad, nor are we praised or blamed for having simple capacity of emotion. Also, while nature gives us our faculties, it is not nature that makes us good or bad. Nature gives us our faculties. So again, faculties are the ability to experience emotions. So some people they're very, I guess you would say they would wear their heart on their sleeves, right? Their emotions are very visible. And that's what he would call their faculties. Or some are more naturally stoic. A man of few words would be like that. And he's saying that that's nature. Nature gives us that. For while nature gives us our faculties, it is not nature that makes us good or bad. Oh, well, what is it then, Mr. Aristotle, that makes us good or bad? But this point we have already discussed. If then the virtues are neither emotions nor faculties, all that remains is that they must be moral states. That's the end of the chapter. It's a very short chapter. I think that's the key point there. That's a really interesting, important point. I think I messed this up. So if we're getting to the bottom of what virtue is not our emotions. Virtue is not our faculty, our ability to feel emotions. But virtue is our moral state, where moral state are that which we can be well or ill disposed in our emotions. I'm almost there. So we feel their emotions are there. We feel our emotions, and then what we're passing through on those emotions, whatever inertia we give to the emotions as they're coming through, that's our moral state, right? I might be feeling anger, it might be inside me. I might be capable of feeling and expressing that anger. But then what I do with that, what baggage I put into that, whether it be malice or restraint, that is where virtue lies. And I can think of a perfect example for that. Yesterday when I mentioned in my video this morning that I was in Target, and there was a line cutter right in front of me, and they cut right in front, and I felt the emotion. I had the faculty of expressing that, yet I tempered that with the restraint, the stoic restraint of saying this is not a big deal, and just let that slide on past. So I think that's been very useful that Aristotle identifies virtue as being associated with moral state and not with emotions or the faculty of being able to express emotions. So I think we've completed chapter 4. I will sign off and go play with the dogs, but I think I saw a comment. Peace and blessings be upon you from Claudius. Thank you. And peace and blessings be to you. And Fitzy Coronet says, vaw.ren to whatever that is. Sorry. Okay. Take care. Be safe, but not too safe.